Mexico because there was a very big festival for the 150th anniversary year celebrations of the appearance of our Srila Jagat Guru Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And it was a very historic occasion, something quite new in the West. That is that acharyas from 5 or 6 different Gaudiya maths, separate missions, all came together to have a festival together. So Srila Bhakti-Vibhuti-Padayan Maharaj was there from Gopinath Gaudiya Math. Srila Bhakti Vichar Vishnu Maharaj from the Chaitanya mission of Pujpad Srila Bhakti Bhagavapuri Maharaj. And Sri Bhakti Sundar Sannyasi Maharaj, the Acharya of Bhakti-Bazar Gaudiya Math and all the affiliated maths, including the very first math in the West in London. Sri Bhakti Sundar Goswami Maharaj was there representing ISKCON. And Tulananda Acharya Maharaj was there representing the whole Vrinda mission of Latin America. And about another 8 or 10 other sannyasis also were there. So it was very beautiful celebration in the spirit of cooperation between all the maths and Chaitanya Academy and ISKCON and everyone together, unified by their appreciation, dedication and surrender at the lotus feet of Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai! So, about a few months before the event, some of the organizers of the event, they came to me in Vrindavan and they invited me to come to this program. And so I accepted the kind invitation as a blessing. And they said also, we want to produce some special books for this 150th anniversary of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So I volunteered, yes, I'll do it. Because there's a very important, extremely important lecture of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur that was spoken on the 11th of August 1929 at the Albert Hall in Calcutta. And this lecture is like a bomb. It is so powerful to destroy all apasiddhanta. Rupa nuga virudapa siddhanta dvanta harine. The first part of the lecture is somewhat technically challenging. And Srila Gurudev had translated it into Hindi, but it had never been translated from Bengali or Hindi into any other language before. So I volunteered to do that, and by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, it was ready in time for the festival. So we've just, actually, I was very worried. I thought I would bring some books from the festival to America, but unfortunately, after a couple of days, they were all sold out. So we didn't have any for the later programs in Mexico after the festival. But fortunately, some of our dear devotees it was printed in Switzerland, from Switzerland, have just arrived today from Switzerland. So Srila Prabhupada's new book in the English language, Gaudiya Darshan. This Gaudiya Darshan is giving its darshan for the first time in America today, right now. So, and they're here? They're inside here? Oh. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, afterwards, if you feel inclined, you should see Madhu Mandal and try to get a copy of Srila Prabhupada's very beautiful lecture. And also I have written a commentary as well, because some parts are quite technical and difficult, so to make it more accessible, there's a commentary there as well. So, I think that Srila Prabhupada has spoken this lecture, and it was published during his day also by the Gaudiya Math. In order to solve the crisis of interpretation, Hare Krishna. Because always in the Gaudiya Vaishnava community, Vaishnavas studying Shastra, but they interpret it in different ways. So, in order to solve this crisis of interpretation, which comes about again and again in every generation, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has given this very astonishing and profound lecture called Sri Gaudiya Darshan. So, I don't want to speak on this today. We'll speak about it the day after tomorrow, because today is Lord Nrsimha's appearance day. Tomorrow is Radharaman's appearance day. And also Madhavendra Puripad's disappearance day, Srinivas Acharya's disappearance day, and Radha Krishna's Naukalila, boating pastimes that take place in the Narendra Sarovar in Jagannath Puri. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself used to participate. So tomorrow is another big festival day. So then the day after that, I would like to speak on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's book. So if you get it today, you have 2 days to read it, and then you can ask questions the day after tomorrow. And then on Sunday we'll finish with the Madhurena Samapet. You have to finish with the sweetest thing, Radha Krishna Lila. Shrestam manamapi Vishachipurtam Patra Surupam Rupam Tasakrajamuri Purim Maturim Koshtuvarti Radha Kundamagirivaram Oh Radhika Marvasam Pratoyasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Guru Tam Natosmi Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tunale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Hemabhadyavyaschavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktya Vidina Tavasmi Najivamitrabhana Iti Vikyaya Devitam Nama Charanantikam. First of all, I have for my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, I want like flowers thousands and thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadiya Paramaradatam Guru Pada Padma, Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Shtotara Satasvi Rupanugachari Varya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami. Secondly, after my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada, to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. By the causeless mercy of Sri Guran Gauranga, this evening we are celebrating the transcendental appearance day of Lord Nrisimha. Jai Sri Sri Radha Govinda Ji. Someone may say, oh, we are the devotees of Sri Radha and Krishna. Why are you hearing about the pastimes of Lord Nrisimha? Our Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he said, you must study all the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj and Nrisimha. The prayers of Prahlad Maharaj 108 times. Have you done it? So this is why we're discussing. It's very important. This pastime in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is very profound. It is very deep. If you hear it from the core of your heart, you will receive a jolt, a shock, that will dislocate the consciousness from this identification with the material world. First of all, we should know that in Srimad Bhagavatam it is Mahapuran. So Mahapuran has 10 lakshan, symptoms. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshnam utaya manvantari shanukata nirodho mukya asraya. So of these 7 symptoms, 10 symptoms. Then the 5th one is called utaya. That is the plural of utti. So utti, utaya karma vasana. Shukadeva Goswami is explaining. Sutta Goswami is explaining that utti means the karma vasanas, the deep impressions in our subconscious mind, impressions in our chitta that we have accrued over many lifetimes and which are coming into our conscious mind one after another in the form of our thoughts, feelings and reactions, and we are thinking that we are independent and making our choices in real time, when actually our consciousness is just the flow of past life impressions coming into the mind, and we are following that. So, though the souls in this world are in a state of bondage, they are thinking, oh, I am very free and I can do what I like. This is not a fact. Now, everyone has different utti, that which impels us to karma vasanas. So, if a person engages in dharma, that means he lives his life according to the prescription of the prescribed duties given in the Vedas, then the performance of dharma brings about sat karma vasana, impressions of sat karma, and the result is that your soul is gradually elevated to Swargaloka and goes to heaven. On the other hand, if a person goes against dharma, against religious principles, living a sinful life, then this produces asat karma vasana. And then the utti, they're impelled from within to act further and further, acts of degradation, and in this way the result is they go to narak, they go down to the hellish existence. But there's something else. If a person will get, by great fortune, sadhu sangha, then he does not get Satkarma Vasana, he does not get Asatkarma Vasana, he gets Sadbhakti Vasana. And by this Sadbhakti Vasana, deep devotional impressions, now he becomes under the control of those deep devotional impressions by the power of Sadhu Sangha, and the result is he does not go up or down, he goes out from this material world and enters into the ocean of rasa, the endless ocean of the loving pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So, here in the 7th canto is, though all the 10 principles of a Mahapurana, they may appear in different cantos, but there's some emphasis. So here in the 7th canto, the emphasis is given on illustrating what is Utti. Why? Because Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, in their previous life, they were Jai and Vijay. And because Jai and Vijay, they made the 4 Kumaras become angry. Then they received a particular utti, a vasana, an impression. And because of that, then when they appeared in the world, because they had incurred the wrath of the Brahmanas, so because of that, they were always constantly impelled in materialistic and atheistic activities. On the other hand, Prahlad Maharaj, when he was still in the womb of his mother, he had the association of Narad Rishi. And as a result of that, or from the beginning of his life, he had the Bhakti Sad Bhakti Vasana. Sad Bhakti Vasana. So he was impelled always, and naturally, just like a magnet is attracted to iron, naturally he was impelled in pure devotional service. So it's very important to try to avoid the adharma, sinful activities, and more important than that, try to have a sadhu sangha, the association of very high-level Vaishnavas. They will give the Vishesh Sanskar. This Vishesh Sanskar manifests in the form of a Saddha, faith in Bhakti, and the enthusiastic engagement in hearing, chanting, and remembering. Now, we're at the beginning of the 7th canto. This is what Shukadeva Goswami wants to impress upon us. Now, in the beginning of this canto, Parikshit Maharaj, he poses a question. Very profound question. He said that we see that the Supreme Lord incarnates again and again, and he takes the side of the demigods over the demons. And so, we know that the Param Tattva, the Supreme Truth, Advaya Gyan Tattva, is beyond duality. So why would, when he comes to this world, will he have partiality towards the demigods? That is called Pakshapat Dosh, the defect of partiality. Why will he have Pakshapat Dosh towards the devatas? And why will he have Nayargrina Dosh, the defect of being antagonistic or cruel towards the demons? Because the Supreme Lord, if he helps the demigods, what does he get from that? Nothing. He himself is transcendental. He is always engaged in his blissful eternal pastimes. He doesn't get anything from helping the demigods. And at the same time, being transcendental, he's not afraid of any demons. He's not in fear of them. So there's no need for him to destroy them. So why, when he comes to this world, does he act like a conditioned soul? So already this question of Parikshit Maharaj puts the discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam far above practically any religious discussion that you could find in this world today. Because everyone is praying, God save the Queen, God bless America. People are thinking that God is like us, and He is involved in the dualities of good and bad in this world. And we have some mission or some agenda, and people are praying to God, oh God, please become involved in my agenda and support me. God met ons. In a war, every side is God's with us. So, this is an ignorant conception, because from the very beginning, Srimad Bhagavatam tells us, Vedanti tat-tat-dvavidas-tattvam yat-jnanamatayam praneti paramateti bhagavaniti shabdate. Supreme truth is the Advaya Jnana Tattva, non-dual conscious reality. God is like that. We are not meant to try to enlist God in our worldly agendas. We are supposed to be enlisted in His eternal agenda of loving pastimes. So this question is very profound. So Shukadeva Goswami, he replied to him that no. The Supreme Lord, when He creates the world, by His Kal Shakti, the three gunas manifest. And these three gunas are always in competition with each other. So sometimes in the universe, Sattva gun rises. At that time, the Devatas become victorious. Sometimes the Rajagun rises, and the Asuras become victorious, and the Devatas they lose their power and their status. And sometimes Tamagun becomes victorious, and the Yakshas and Rakshasas take over. So, the Supreme Lord, only when He appears, He supports its guna according to His plan of Kal, how time will manifest. When Parikshit Maharaj heard this, he was not fully satisfied. He said, but we see that the Supreme Lord, when He appears, He literally fights on the side of the Devatas and kills the demons. So then, Shukadeva Goswami, he said, look, the demigods, they have been defeated many times. How many times has Indra lost heaven and the Asuras have taken over? And then sometimes, after some time, the Lord appears, He supports the Devatas, and then they're driven out, then the Devatas get the upper hand. So, Shukadeva Goswami describes that in accordance with the Kal, the movement of time, and Sattva-gun becoming prominent or Rajagun becoming prominent, the Lord supports Rajagun or He supports Sattva-gun. But He's only visible when Sattva-gun becomes prominent. He makes Himself visible. But He's supporting the demons against the Devatas when the Rajagun is there, but you cannot see Him. Just like mercury, when you have mercury in a thermometer, if the glass is clear, you can see the movements of the mercury. But if the glass is opaque, then you cannot see the mercury. So in the same time, it is always the Supreme Lord, through Kal, causing one to be victorious or another to be victorious. But sometimes He is visible, and sometimes not visible. And this is why this misconception comes about, that God has the Pakshapat dosh, the defect of partiality. But then, Shukadeva Goswami said, so the Lord, He is not, He is Samo, as Krishna said in Gita, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dvestos dinapriya. I am equal to everyone. I don't favor anyone, and I am not against anyone. But still, Shukadeva Goswami said, the Supreme Lord isn't blind. And if a person has devotion to Him, then he will become partial to that person. But there's no fault of partiality. Why? Because He is ready to reciprocate and take the side of anyone, either demon or demigod, who becomes devoted to Him. And therefore, here is the illustration. You say that the Supreme Lord always takes the side of the demigods, but Lord Nrsimha appeared to protect Prahlad Maharaj, and he was born in the family of demons. And so His partiality is only manifest towards those who have bhakti, but it's not really partiality, because He's ready to reciprocate with everyone. The ball is in our court, and the Lord will reciprocate. So, now we come to the history. Perhaps you know that Lord Barahadev had killed Hiranyaksha, the brother of Hiranyakashipu. And he is the wife of Hiranyaksha. Her name is Vashabhanu. Not Vrishabhanu, Vashabhanu. She was crying, and his other wives were crying. And the other relatives, they were all crying over the death of the Hiranyaksha. So at that time, Hiranyakashipu came there. He said, look, you should not cry over these things. Because in this world, life is temporary. Everyone must die. Death is coming. But to die face to face in battle is a hero's death. So you should be celebrating that he has died a hero's death. Still they were crying. So then Hiranyakashipu said, listen, once there was a king, the king of Usinara, his name was Suyagya, and he was killed in battle, and his body wrapped in a sheet was brought back to his palace. And his wives, all the queens and family members were there, and they were inconsolable. They were beating their breasts and weeping, and they wouldn't let the body be taken for cremation. So at that time, Yamaraj, he took a form of a small boy, and he came there. The Yamaduttas could not come because some of the members of the king's family were devotees. So Yamaraj himself had to come. And taking the form of a small boy, he came at the back of the crowd and said, oh, why are you crying? Why are you crying? The adults told him, the king is dead. The king has gone. The king has gone. We have lost the king. So then that boy, he forced himself through the crowd and he got to the front. He said, oh, you're all lying. He's right here. He's right here in front of us. So they said, no, little boy, you don't understand. This is not the king. This is his body. And the boy said, oh, really? So the king is not this body? No, he is the soul. So then the boy said, have you ever seen the soul? How big is it? What color is it? What shape is it? They said, no, we've never seen the soul. So then the boy said, every day, thousands and thousands of souls are leaving that you also never saw. Why are you crying for this one? Then the boy said, I have an idea. Let's all cry together as loud as we can. Because if we do that, he may come back. They said, no, it doesn't matter how much we cry, he'll never come back. The boy said, then, why are you crying? So telling this story, Hiranyakashipu was trying to awaken them to some tattva gyan of Atma Tattva, the knowledge of the soul. So hearing this story, then they became pacified and peaceful. Then Hiranyakashipu, he went to his soldiers and he told them, I will take revenge. This Vishnu is so bad. I have heard that he's supposed to be impartial, but he has taken sides of the demigods against my brother. So his consciousness has become so low, he had to take the form of a pig. He's taken the form of an animal now, his consciousness became so low. So I'll kill him with my trident. So I am going now to perform austerities in the valley of Mandara mountain. And all of you should go to earth and you should destroy all Brahminical culture, all cows, stop anyone from doing yajnas. So then the soldiers of Hiranyakashipu, they went to the earth. He told them, because people are doing yajna to the demigods, so if you stop all the yajnas, the demigods will become weak. And the demigods are supported by Vishnu, so when I kill them, it will be like cutting the roots. So the tree of the devatas, our enemies, will dry up. So then they went to make chaos on the earth, and Hiranyakashipu, he went to the valley of the Mandara mountain. And he was standing on his tiptoes with his arms in the air and doing pranayama, controlling his breathing. And he was there for 100 celestial years. During that time, the ants came and built an anthill around his body. And the ants began to eat him. And they ate all the flesh. There was just his bones. And his prana was circulating just in the bones. So at that time, from the intensity of his austerities, fire was coming from his head, and it was causing the whole universe to overheat. So the devatas, they were very perturbed, And they prayed to Lord Brahma. And then they all prayed together to the Supreme Lord. And they heard Akashvani, a voice in the sky. That transcendental sound said, "Oh, do not fear. When this demon tries to attack my pure devotee Prahlad, at that time I will destroy him." So they became somewhat pacified. So Lord Brahma, on his swan, he rode on his swan carrier, and he came to the valley of the Mandara mountain, and he took some water from his kamandalu and he sprinkled it on the bones of Hiranyakashipu. And as soon as he sprinkled the water upon him, then his body came back, and he was very golden and very handsome, very powerful and healthy again. And now Hiranyakashipu, tears were flowing from his eyes, his hairs were standing on end, he was trembling. He was having ecstatic symptoms because now his desire was about to be fulfilled. So he gave pranam again and again to Lord Brahma. And Brahmaji said, "I'll give you a benediction. What do you want?" He said, "Give me the benediction that I will be immortal." Lord Brahma said, "Even I am not immortal. My whole life is only like one breath of Lord Vishnu. I cannot give you that benediction. Ask for something else." So then Hiranyakashipu said, "Give me the benediction that I will not be killed in the day or in the night, that I cannot be killed on the land, in the air or in the water, that I cannot be killed by the living or the dead, that I cannot be killed by any weapon, that I cannot be killed by any creature created by you, that I cannot be killed by any human being, animal or demigod, that I cannot be killed within any year or any month." So Lord Brahma, he said, "Tatastu, Tatastu, may it be." And then Hiranyakashipu, he thought, now I am immortal. Even though he would not give me the benediction of immortality, by my legalistic wrangling, I have managed to squeeze out that benediction, he was thinking. So then he returned to his kingdom. Now he was so powerful. He led all the demons in an invasion of heaven. And as all the demons were approaching heaven, then Indra, he knew that he could not fight with him. The other demons, they knew that Hiranyakashipu was too powerful. At the time, Indra was actually sitting in his palace doing what he usually does, just enjoying some entertainment. Some musical entertainments, there was some singing, some dancing. He was drinking a cool drink of soma, and he was enjoying himself. And then Hiranyakashipu with the armies of the demons arrived, and Hiranyakashipu blew his conch shell. Suddenly, all the musicians, they got up and ran, scattering their drums and instruments here and there. And Hiranyakashipu came into the courtyard. "Hey, who are you?" "My name is Devaraj Indra." "Oh, really? You are Devaraj?" Raj means dust or clay, and Deva means one who plays. "Oh, you play with clay, you make bricks. Are you a builder?" No. I'm not a builder." "Then what do you do?" I make the rain." Hiranyakashipu said, "No, cannot make the rain. That is natural. It is coming from Rajagun. Tell me, what do you do?" Then Indra realized. He said, "My lord, I do whatever pleases you." Huh? So then Hiranyakashipu said, "Okay, pick up that drum, you play mridanga. You play mridanga for me." "Who are you?" I am Chandra. the moon god. What do you do? I do what pleases you, Your Majesty. You pick up the cartels now. Oh. Like this, he was turning all the devatas into his servants. Now you perform for me. He was so powerful. What he did not know is that during that time when he was in the valley of the Mandara mountain, his wife, Nkayadu, was pregnant. And she had given birth to a boy. He had 4 sons. And all were very qualified. But Prahlad was different to the other ones. So, one day, Prahlad's mother, she bathed him. He was just 5 years old. She bathed him and decorated him to present him before his father. Now, Prahlad's character was extraordinary. Why? By the power of Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha completely transforms us. Prahlad, he was not aware of his body and senses at all. He was not aware of what was going on in this world. He was completely in a Sahaj Samadhi, a natural trance, all the time. He did not know the things of this world. He only knew the things of Sri Krishna's world. Sometimes, seeing the Lord, he would become very happy and smile. And then the next moment, when he saw the Lord had disappeared, he would cry, just like a child in the arms of the mother. If she puts down the child to go away, then the child will start crying. So he was crying, oh, Krishna, Krishna. And then again, the Lord would appear in the distance and say, oh, Prahlad, I am here, why are you crying? I'll never leave you. And then the little boy would jump up and start dancing. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Sometimes he would just sit and feeling. Shukadeva Goswami says, Govinda Parirambita, feeling the embrace of Govinda. Tears would flow from his eyes. Sometimes in the madness of remembering the Supreme Lord, he would act out the pastimes of Krishna as if he were Krishna or as if he were Lord Ramachandra, imitating the pastimes of the Lord. So he was fully absorbed in transcendental bliss. So one day, his mother decorated him and brought him before his father. And his father was very proud. Oh, my son. And he took his son in his lap with the tears in his eyes and sniffing his head. He was very proud. Oh son, please tell me, what is the best thing you have learned? Don't think that demons have like fangs and horns and everything. Sometimes they do. But also just being absorbed and attached in this material world and having attachment to your family members. This is not the sign that one is a good person, actually. This is also Maya. So even the demons love their children. As long as the child is giving them the sense gratification that they want. Being a good demon. So he said, oh Prahlad, tell me, what is the best thing you have learned at school? So Prahlad Maharaj said, Tat sadhu mandye asuravarya dehinam sada samudvigya diyamma satkrahat hitvatma patam griyamandakupam vanam gato yad harimasayita. O Asuryavarya, O best of the demons. Everyone in this world who has accepted a material body finds himself in one embarrassing, compromising situation after another. That's all it is. Those who accepted the temporary, the asat, to be sat, they are just battling with one problem after another after another. So I think the best thing is hitvatma patam griyamandakupam. One should leave the dark well of materialistic household life, which is just filled with suffering. Vanam gato yad harimasriyeta, and go to Banam. Banam here means Vrindavan Dhama ki jai. Go to Vrindavan and there take shelter of the Supreme Lord Hari. The Hiranyakashipu was upset because in his mind, Hari, who is Hari? Hari is the person who killed his brother. So, what is this? And he looked towards the teachers of Prahlad Maharaj. Why have you taught him these things? They said, we did not teach him these things. Hiranyakashipu said, there must be some followers of Vishnu, some Vaishnavas in disguise are coming into the palace and they are corrupting my son by their bad association. So you should take him away and protect him very, very carefully that he will not have any Vaishnav Sangha. Because you know the result of Vaishnav Sangha. It's very problematic for one's life and all worldly ambitions. So then, Sanda and Amarka, they are his teachers, they are the two sons of Shukracharya. So they took Prahlad away and they tried to educate him in the politics, diplomacy, divide and conquer, in business, economics, all of these worldly things. So they took him out. After some time, his mother again decorated Prahlad Maharaj with a very fragrant oil and a beautiful garland and beautiful ornaments and brought Prahlad into the presence of his father. Sanda and Amarka are there. They said, oh, we have given him a very good education, first class education. You'll see just now. And when you see how educated he has become in all the important subjects like politics and economics, then you should give us a pay rise. We should have a promotion because we've educated him so well. A bonus. We should get a bonus. So then Hiranyakashipu, he took Prahlad in his lap again. And he said, oh, tell me, Prahlad, what have you learned at school? What is the best thing? What is the best knowledge of all? So then Prahlad Maharaj said, Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani, Vedanam, Iti Pumsa, Pita, Vishnu, Bhaktischan, Avalakshana, Kriti, Bhagavatada, Tanmanye, Ditamutamam. I consider that person is fully educated and has the best knowledge, who first surrenders at the lotus feet of Sri Vishnu and then engages in hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, serving the deity and all the 9 angas of bhakti. So then Hiranyakashipu was furious. Where did you learn this? Did you learn this from your teachers? Prahlad Maharaj said, Matena Krishnai Parata Sotova Mitobi Padyeta Griha Pratanam Adanta Gobi Vishatam Tamishram Puna Punaschavita Chavananam. Prahlad Maharaj said, Krishna consciousness, that the soul will be fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. That consciousness cannot be awakened by one's own effort, nor by the effort of others who are not Krishna conscious, or by a combination of both. Those persons who made a vrat, they've made a vow to be absorbed in worldly dualities and to be attached to that, griha pratanam, then those persons, their senses are never under control. And because they're adanta gobi, their senses are out of control, they have no discipline. So they're again, punaschavita chavananam, they're chewing the chewed. They're tasting that which has already been tasted. So this does not just refer to a person here in this world in the mode of ignorance who's just taking drugs and getting drunk and trying to enjoy sex. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj is speaking about those who perform the dharma and go to heaven. Even. They are punaschavita chavananam, chewing the chewed. Why? Because by performing their dharmic activities, they go to Swargalok, and there are so many courtesans like Urvashi and Ramba, the courtesans of heaven, and they enjoy sex with those apsaras in heaven, and but everyone else who also did the dharma previously, they went to heaven and enjoyed with those apsaras, and then it's the next person's turn and the next person's turn. Vishnu Thakur said Swargaloki is like a brothel. So puna punascha chavananam. Oh, just trying to enjoy those things that other people have enjoyed. And what do? When their enjoyment is exhausted, then they're back down again in this world and going round and round. So this is completely useless. When Hiranyakashipu heard these words, he said, oh, so you think that you are better than us? I am so powerful and so learned, and your teachers, they are the great students of Shukracharya. You think you know the Shastra better than them? So then Prahlad Maharaj said, Na te vidu swartagatim hi vishnum durashaya ye bahi atamanina andaya tandaru pagiyamana te pishatantram urudam nibadha. Durashaya. Those persons who have in their heart material desires, bahi atamanina, they think that the external objects of the senses have permanent value, but they are useless. They think that searching for these sense objects is to their benefit, it's their self-interest, but actually, na te vidu swartagatim hi vishnum. They don't know that their real self-interest lies in Vishnu, in Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Everyone is searching for happiness for themselves, but they don't know that no happiness is found in this way. But when we try to serve and give happiness to Vishnu, to Krishna, Supreme Lord, automatically we become overjoyed without any extraneous endeavor. So Prahlad Maharaj said, those persons who don't know the real self-interest, the swarta. Swarta means selfishness. The real swarta is to please Krishna. Those persons, they are like blind persons. And they are leading other blind persons, and they are leading other blind persons. If you go to college, then you can become educated on how to do more and more karmas and how to become more entangled in this world. Te pisha tantram urudam nibadha. Here it means that they are bound by ropes and they fall down. These ropes are what? The prescriptions of karma kanda in the Vedas. The rules and regulations of Shastra. Here are the ropes which are binding them in this world. So they're like the blind leading the blind. Once there was a blind man, he was sitting and he could hear a tapping sound of a stick. He said, who's there? Who's there? Then he heard a voice come in. It's me, Padmalochan. His name, Padmalocha's eyes. Who are you? Oh, my name is the Sarvadashi. Sarvadashi means all-seeing one. Good place, alright. So then, the three blind men are going on, one following the other. Then suddenly, hey! Padmalochan! Are you okay? Yes, I am fine. Okay, Sarvadashi, come on. Then, Divya Chakshu, hey, Sarvadashi, what's going on? No problem, come on. And in this way, they all fall into the ditch one after another. This is you are laughing. This is not just like an allegorical story. This is actually the perfect illustration of modern life and material education. The path of the persons who don't know the Atma, the Self. So when Hiranyakashipu heard these words of Prahlad Maharaj, he said, so you think that we are all fools? How can we become learned like you? He was being very sarcastic. Prahlad Maharaj said, Nrisimha sprishatinata pagamo yadata mahiyashans padarajobhishekam niskinchananam navrinit yavat. Unless and until you completely bathe your intelligence in the foot dust of Niskinchan Vaishnavas, those Vaishnavas who have no possession and no possessiveness for anything in this world, their only possession is Krishna. They have mamata. Krishna is mine. Unless and until you bathe your intelligence fully in the foot dust of such Vaishnavas, then the anarthas, bodily identification, ignorance and attachments, it will not disappear. So when Hiranyakashipu heard these words, he turned to Sanda and Amarkan, and he was thinking, oh, they betrayed me. They are the ones who have taught this
philosophy to my boy. He said, oh, just as in a sinful person, a disease gradually manifests itself, so similarly, the enemy who lives with you, gradually his hostility will manifest. So now I know what side you're on. So then Sandana Marka, they were trembling. They thought, we came here thinking that we were going to get a bonus. We thought we would get a promotion and a pay rise. But now we find out he's going to kill us. And they're very afraid. They said, no, we have not taught any of these things to him. Please, be patient. Our father, Shukracharya, is very, very learned. Shukracharya, Shukra means semen. Shukra Acharya, not a transcendental Guru Parampara, but only a succession of bodies. That is biological tradition, worldly material tradition. So his name is Shukracharya. And he has two sons, Shanda and Marka. Shanda means the eunuch. The eunuch has no potency. So in the same way, that teacher who does not have realization of transcendental knowledge does not have the potency to awaken that gyan, that transcendental knowledge in the heart of the disciple. So that is Shanda. And his brother is Marka. Marka means eclipse. Even though the sun is shining, but the eclipse comes and everything becomes dark. So even though the Vedas describe the supreme truth, his explanation of the Vedas covers all the actual transcendental knowledge. So that is Shanda and Marka. So they told him, our father is away soon, he'll come back and he will find a solution to this problem. Don't be worried. So then Hiranyakashipu, he said, oh, this boy, he is like a cancer, disease. If there's some disease in the body, you have to cut it out. So he should be killed. So he called his soldiers, oh, take him away and kill him. So then the soldiers of Hiranyakashipu, they tried so many things. First they brought him to the top of a cliff. And they threw him from the top of the cliff. And Prahlad Maharaj was just floating down. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. No fear at all. Complete faith. And Sri Krishna appeared and caught him and put him safely on the ground. So that didn't work. Okay. Let's put him in front of stampeding elephants. So then they put Prahlad there and they made a stampede of elephants. And when a huge elephant was just about to crush Prahlad Maharaj, then he saw Prahlad and the elephant's heart melted. And with his trunk he picked him up and put Prahlad on his back and the elephant began to dance. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Why? Because when someone has love for Krishna, then automatically, even ferocious lions and tigers, they feel love for that person. And there's no danger. This is the power of love for Sri Krishna. So then they thought, we should put him in a pit of poisonous snakes. So they put Prahlad Maharaj in a pit of poisonous snakes. And when the snakes saw him, they looked at him with very loving eyes and they came and they played in his lap. They tried to give him poison in food, but he took it, but before he took it, Krishna took it first. It became Mahaprasad and the poison became nectar. And he lived. Then they thought, okay, we could not kill him by feeding him, let's kill him by starving him. So then they put him in a prison without any food. For a long time, they thought, oh, surely he will starve to death now. But see, Krishna came there himself with a plate of prasadam. Yoga Kshema Vaham Yaham. Krishna said, whatever you need, I will bring it. So Krishna bought a plate of prasadam and the guards could hear. Hey, what is he eating? And the guards came and said, oh, he is eating something. And Prahlad Maharaj, very happy, he took the prasadam and he was throwing the rice at the guards. Oh, take this, you will get Krishna Prem. So many ways they tried to kill him. Hiranyakashipu now, he was having a nervous breakdown. Why can't I kill this boy? So his sister Holika said, oh yeah, don't worry. I have a benediction from Lord Brahma that I am fireproof. So you should make a big pyre and I'll sit there and I'll hold Prahlad on my lap and you set fire to it and then Ram Nam Satta, hey, he'll be dead. So then Holika, she sat on a throne on the big pile of wood, and she said, "Oh, my very dear nephew Prahlad, come and sit in the lap of your auntie Holika." And Prahlad came, and she took Prahlad in her lap and held him tightly, and then the demons set fire to him. And the flames went very high up into the sky, and Hiranyakashipu was very satisfied. Until the flames died down, and when the flames died down, then Holika was burnt to ash, and only Prahlad was sitting there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. He was untouched. What is this? This is all the Naam Mahima, the glories of the holy name. One who chants Shuddha Naam, then his body becomes Sachidananda, indestructible, eternal, transcendental, like the body of Sri Krishna. But still, the Vaishnava, in order to keep the bhakti secret, Yogamaya arranges for the old age and apparent passing away of Vaishnava. But this is all the one trick of Yogamaya. So then, Hiranyakashipu, he was becoming completely insane. I can't kill him, I can't kill him. If I don't kill him, then maybe he will kill me. So Sandananamaka said, look, don't worry, let us train him again. When our father returns, he'll take care of everything. So then they took Prahlad to the school. The lessons were going on. And then when the teachers, they took a break, they tied up Prahlad Maharaj. Don't make any more trouble. They tied him up, and then the teachers went for their break. So when the teachers went for the break, then the other little demon boys in the school, they came and they untied Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj said, oh, they have freed me from my bondage. I will free them from their bondage also. Prahlad Maharaj called out, oh, little demons, sons of the Asuras, come here. I want to tell you about Dharma. The boy said, we don't want to know about Varnashram Dharma. We are only 5 years old. We don't have to follow this. We don't have to know about this. This is what you do when you grow up. So then Prahlad Maharaj said, no. Kaumara acharat pragyo dharmam bhagavataniha drulabha manasam janma tadapya dhruvam artadam. You have to practice. The Dharma I am speaking about is not Varnashram Dharma. I am speaking about Bhagavat Dharma. Bhakti Dharma, the Dharma of the soul. This Dharma has no conditions of time or place or birth or anything. From your childhood you must do it. Because if you say I'll do it later, there's no guarantee that you'll grow to become a youth. And then your life will be wasted. So Dharmam Bhagavatan Hiya. So then the boy said, okay, so if we die, no problem. We can do it in the next life. Prahlad Maharaj said, no. Durlabham manasam janma. There's no guarantee that you'll be a human being in the next life, even. This human form of life is very rare. And when it's lost, then you may not get it again for a long time. But this human form of life, tadapya dhruvam artadam, even though it is unsteady, it is temporary, but it can give you great benefit. So at once you should engage in bhakti. Otherwise, if you don't do this, it will be a very great problem for you. Why? Because a human being, they may live at most 100 years. And of that 100 years, 50 years are spent snoring, completely useless, sleeping. So only 50 years are left. And of those 50 years which are left, the first 15, 20 years you are spending only in your education, trying to get a job, and how to develop a skill for a profession, for maintenance. And in the last 20 years, the body is so weak and suffering and helpless. You don't have the strength or the ability to enthusiastically engage in bhakti. So there's only a very small amount of time in the middle. And what happens in that amount of time? Oh, how can a person who is spending time with his beautiful wife, they have very loving and romantic conversations. And they did so many things together, going here and there on their honeymoon. How can he forget her? How can a person give up the children who come and sit in the lap and they're so helpless? They need nourishment and care and speak with sweet broken words. How can one forget his dogs and cats and his house and all the furniture and the family heirlooms which came down in the family from the great-grandmother? And in this way, the soul who is transcendental, who came from another life, appeared into this life, and then, what does he do? He's just like a silkworm. The silkworm makes a cocoon, turning around again and again, until he's completely wrapped up in that cocoon, and there's no way out. So in the same way, the soul comes into this world, and then engages in all of these worldly activities, by which his mind is bound in a cocoon. And it's so intense, there's just no way he can even think of coming out from this. So from the beginning of life, one should engage in bhakti. So then, the boy said, how did you learn this? I learned from my guru. He said, we are also learning from the same guru, but we didn't learn this. He said, no, not that guru. Before, when I was in the womb of my mother, and he narrated how he had learned about bhakti from Narada Muni. So then Prahlad Maharaj told them, Guru srusustraya bhaktya savalabda panena cha sangena sarubhaktanam ishvararadhanena cha. To enter into bhakti, one should take shelter of Sri Guru and hear very deeply, and whatever Gurudev is telling, try to follow it in one's life. Whatever one has, body, mind, words, wealth, everything should be completely offered into the service of Sri Guru. Sangena sadhu bhaktanam, and also you should associate with sadhus. Why? Because Gurudev will not speak his own glory, his own position, but by associating with pure Vaishnavas, they will tell, do you know how great your Guru is? What level he is on? How deep is his realization? What amazing pastimes and service he has done. So, not only associating with Guru, but also associating with pure Vaishnavas, Ishvara Aradhanena cha, one can be engaged in the Aradhana, the loving service of the Supreme Lord. Now the boys were convinced. They said, all right, Prahlad, we are ready. Tell us, what should we do? Tell us what we should do. So then Prahlad Maharaj said, okay, everyone clap your hands. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai was sitting in his royal court and he could hear some kirtan coming from the Gurukul. He said, what is this? What is this? Now, before there was one Vaishnava, and now all the demon children have all become Vaishnavas and they're all doing bhakti to Krishna. So he sent some servant, go and tell them, bring them here at once. So then the servant went and brought Prahlad and all the boys. when all the boys came with Prahlad and they got to the door of the court, they said, Prahlad, we are scared, we don't want to go in. We are scared of your father. Prahlad said, I am not afraid. And Prahlad, alone, he went inside. So then, Hiranyakashipu, he saw his boy. He said, oh, Prahlad, how dare you defy me? Don't you know who I am? When I raise my eyebrows, all the demigods, they tremble in fear. They're all my servants and servants of my servants. But you dare to defy me. You are so rebellious. Tell me, from where do you get the strength to disobey me? Prahlad Maharaj said, my strength and your strength and the strength of everyone, whoever has strength, their strength comes from one place, from Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Hiranyakashipu said, you are always talking about some God other than me. Some controller other than, I'm in control of everything. But you talk about someone else, or you say he's in control. But where is this God of yours? Where is he? Prahlad Maharaj said, oh, my Lord is everywhere. So then Hiranyakashipu said, is he in this pillar? Then Prahlad Maharaj looked at the pillar, and at that moment Lord Nrsimhadev gave him a spurti. And Lord Nrsimhadev winked at Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, he's there. Then Prahlad Maharaj said, well, then let us see him save you now when I sever your head from your body. And Hiranyakashipu took his sword in his hand, but with his fist he punched the pillar and cracked the pillar, and then turned his back from the pillar, and then he began to advance towards Prahlad to cut off his head. But just then, when he was about to kill Prahlad Maharaj, he heard a tremendous sound. And the pillar shattered into thousands of pieces. And at that very moment, Satyam vidatum tava bheda-abheda-tattva. Satyam vidatum tava bheda-abheda-tattva. In order to keep true the words of his servant. Who? Brahma, Narad, and Prahlad. So many persons had spoken about the Supreme Lord and made promises. So to keep true the words of his servant, then the Supreme Lord, Lord Nrsimhadev, he burst out from the pillar. With thousands of arms, with thousands of weapons, with the body of a human being and the head of a lion, roaring ferociously, Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan Shri Nrsimha Jai Nrsimha Jaya Jai Nrsimha. Oh Shri Nrsimha Jai Nrsimha Jaya Jai He was shining like the sun. And Hiranyakashipu, just like a small moth, flies into a blazing fire. He was thinking, no one can kill me. I have so many benedictions. I have insurance policy from Lord Brahma. No problem at all. And with his weapons, he flew into the blazing form of Lord Nrisimha to fight with him. So the fighting was going on, and just as Garuda sometimes catches a snake and plays with him and lets him go again. So Lord Nrisimha, he would sometimes catch Hiranyakashipu and sometimes let him go. When the Lord Nrisimha would catch Hiranyakashipu, then all the demigods in the sky would become like refugees. You know, they'd been kicked out of heaven. But they came in the sky. When they saw the Lord was catching Hiranyakashipu, they chanted, Jai, Jai! Jai, Jai! But then when he apparently slipped out from his grasp, then they said, Hi, hi! Alas, alas. So the demigods were praying out, please quickly kill him. Don't prolong this. It's too much suspense for us. So then they were fighting for some time. And then Satyam Vidatum Tavapritchabasitam, because Lord Brahma had said, you cannot be killed in the day or the night. So Lord Nrisimha was waiting for the exact time of the dusk, the twilight, neither the day or the night. And when that time came, neither inside or outside, but on the threshold, on the doorway of the house, not on the land or in the sky, but in his lap. Not by the living or the dead. The nail is neither living or dead. It's growing, but it has no conscience, no feeling. Not by any weapon, but by his nails. Not by any human being, demigod or animal created by Brahma, but the Supreme Lord himself. Being half man and half animal also. Not in any year, it was the leap year. Not in any month, it was Malmas, Purushottam Mas. So in all these ways, he kept the benedictions of Brahma intact, and putting Hiranyakashipu on his lap, then with his nails he burst open the abdomen of Hiranyakashipu and tore him apart, and he was pulling out all of his intestines. You know, you have the intestines are so long, it's like whatever, like the 10 times the length of a football field. Yeah. So he was pulling out all the intestines of Hiranyakashipu. Do you know why? Lord Nrisimha was thinking, from these veins, a jewel of a devotee appeared, Prahlad Maharaj. Maybe there's some more jewels in here. So he's looking at any more jewels in here. And he wrapped the intestines around his neck, and he was covered in blood, and he was roaring loudly, and he threw the body on the ground. And then he got up and he walked over to the throne of Hiranyakashipu, and then he sat down there. And he sat covered in blood and roaring, making all the sky tremble. It's very, very deep. First of all, this Hiranyakashipu was actually the incarnation of his devotee Jai. So, though the Brahmanas were there, and the Brahmanas, they could offer Idamasanam, Om Narayanaya Swaha. They can give a seat, but he never accepted a seat that was offered by the Brahmanas. But this seat was actually the remnant of his devotee. So out of love for Jai, his associate, he came, and the Supreme Lord, instead of the devotee taking remnants of the Lord took the remnants of his devotee, and he sat down there. This is the love of Lord Nrisimha for his devotee. This pastime has a very deep meaning. You know, I just gave a class last week in Mexico. Did anyone see the classes in Mexico? Yeah? So one of the classes was on the subject of Drishya Vichar. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he said, just before he was leaving this world, he was dictating his biography to Sundarananda Vidvinod. He said, if I have to sum up the essence of all my teaching that I have given, I would say it is this thing, Drishya Vichar, the deliberation on the seer and the seen. Who is the seer and who is seen? And then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur began to cry. And he said, but unfortunately, most people, they have not understood my message. So today, we should try to understand this message and not make Srila Prabhupada cry. We want to please our Guru Parampara. So Drishya Vichar means that the eye is the seer of physical objects, and the mind is the seer of the eye. Rupam Drishyam Lochnam Drik Tadrishyam Driktumanasam Drishyavi Dritya Shakshi. The eye is the seer of the physical object. The mind is the seer of the eye. And the soul is the seer of the Shakshi, the seer of the mind. So we are not this body, we are not this mind, we are Sakshi, the witness of the mind. Seeing above, from a transcendental position. But in relation to God, we are not the seers. He is the seer of us. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pasyanti Suraya Diviva Chakshu Artatam. Just as the sun is shining in the sky all the time, so the eye of the Supreme Lord is watching us at every moment. But we have no power to see Him. But if we try to serve Him fully, with body, mind and words, without being entangled in the temporary material nature, then His merciful eye will look upon us with the Kripa Drishti, merciful glance. And when we receive the merciful glance of Sri Krishna, then what happens? Shubha Drishti Karo Prabhu Jagater Prati Jagu Karito Ye Buro Sumangala Rati. When the Lord casts His merciful glance upon us, it awakens Rati, Bhav, ecstatic love in the heart, and by that bhav, only then can we see the Supreme Lord. So our problem in this world is, we think that we are drasta. I am drasta, I am the seer, and this physical world is the drisha, seen by me. And also God, or any transcendental things, I have the power to see them. But this is only the drasta abhiman, false ego, that we are the seers, that we can know by our own power the transcendental vastu, aprakrita vastu. So, when Prahlad Maharaj said to Hiranyakashipu, "Oh, my Lord is everywhere," then Hiranyakashipu said, "Is He here in this pillar?" Prahlad Maharaj said, "Yes." And Hiranyakashipu looked at the pillar and he was trying to see Him. What does it mean? Drasta abhiman. Hiranyakashipu is the embodiment of the drashta abhiman. We think that we can measure reality. Miyate anaya iti maya. The definition of maya is miyate anaya iti maya. By which it is measured, that is called maya. We have the bhogya darshan. We see the world, oh, this is the object of my enjoyment. And because the world is the object of my enjoyment, I am trying to measure it. How soft is it? How warm is it? How crunchy is it? How sweet is it? With all our senses, we're trying to measure the world. This is a bhogya darshan. And by this, we have a blindness and we cannot see the Supreme Lord. So when we think, I am drasta, we have this abhiman, I am the seer, then we become lost in material existence. So when Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, He's in the pillar, He's everywhere. Then Hiranyakashipu said, is He in this pillar? He said, yes. And then Hiranyakashipu was looking. So this is the drasta abhiman. Hiranyakashipu is the embodiment of this. And then Lord Nrsimhadev appeared and tore him to pieces. So the appearance day of Lord Nrsimhadev is the day when the Supreme Lord by His mercy comes and tears to pieces our drasta abhiman. So that we can be orientated towards the transcendental subjects, towards the holy name, towards the deity, towards Mahaprasadam. Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swapapunnavatam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayati. These are all aprakrita vastu. We cannot see them, they are looking at us. As long as we put ourselves above the transcendental things, we can never attain their seva. So this appearance day of Lord Nrsimhadev is the day our drasta abhiman is killed by Lord Nrsimhadev, so that we can become qualified to serve Sri Sri Radha Govinda Ju ki. Hare Krishna. So now, Lord Nrsimhadev, He's roaring loudly, and all the devatas, they're afraid. Lord Shiva came to Lord Brahma and said, "Oh Lord Brahma, you should go and offer prayers and pacify the Lord." Lord Brahma said to Lord Shiva, "You go and offer prayers and pacify the Lord." Then they both decided, no, let's ask his wife Lakshmi Devi. So they sent a message to Lakshmi Devi, please come and pacify your husband. So then Lakshmi Devi said, yes, wait a minute, just have to do my makeup. So then she did very beautiful makeup and very beautiful shringar, and she put a veil over her head, and then very coyly and very flirtatiously she came into the courtyard and she glanced lovingly towards her husband, and Lord Nrisimha said, and Lakshmi Devi screamed and ran for her life. Oh, I've never seen my husband in such an angry mood before. So the truth of the matter is that every time Lord Nrisimha appears, she comes there and she scares her away. But Yogamaya had covered Lakshmi Devi so that she'd forgotten this pastime. She also stays with him in Vaikuntha all the time, also in the Nrisimha form. But in order for Lakshmi Devi and all the others there to experience Adbhuta Ras, the rasa of astonishment, Yogamaya had covered Lakshmi Devi at that time. So then Brahma failed, Shiva failed, Lakshmi Devi failed. So then they turned to Prahlad Maharaj. Oh Prahlad, can you go and pacify Lord Nrisimha? So then Prahlad Maharaj, without any fear at all, very happily skipping, he went there to the throne and he gave Dandavat Pranam to Lord Nrisimha, and with affection Lord Nrisimha picked him up and took him in the lap, because a lion is very ferocious to others but very affectionate to the lion cubs. So now Lord Nrisimha took Prahlad in his lap and put his hand on his forehead, and now the Lord is doing Pashu Sneha Lila. Pashu Sneha Lila means the animal affection Lila, and Lord Nrisimha, just like a lion, licks the cubs. So Lord Nrisimha was lovingly licking Prahlad Maharaj. Very beautiful. Prahlad Maharaj said, "Oh my Lord, I am not a great scholar like Brahma or Brihaspati and other devatas who are here. But I know that you are Bhava Grahi Janadana. So even though I am not very eloquent, you will just accept my mood." And then Prahlad began to offer prayers to Lord Nrisimha. Very beautiful. The first thing he said to Lord Nrisimha is that I am a demon. So my nature is very low. My nature is to be attached to this world. So this is first teaching of Prahlad Maharaj. Though he is very great, he has Prem, he is a wonderful devotee, but he feels Uttamaya apanake manitana dam. Jive saman dive jani Krishna Adhistan. Mahaprabhu said, the Uttam Vaishnava, he's the highest of all, but he thinks himself the lowest. And he gives respect to everyone, thinking that Krishna is in the heart, realizing that Krishna is in the heart of everyone. So we should not become puffed up, think I am very learned, I am a great devotee. No, where are we coming from? Satya Yuga, so many people were liberated. Treta Yuga, Dwarpa Yuga. We are now only the dregs are left over. In this Kali Yuga. So I am very fallen. And he prayed to Lord Nrisimha. Naivatmana prabhurayam nijalabha purno manam janad avidusha karuno brinite yadyad jano bhagavate vidadita manam tatschatmane pratikmukasya yata mukasrihi. Such a beautiful verse. He said, "Oh my Lord, when you do something, you never do it to get something for yourself. Naivatmana prabhurayam nijalabha. You never act for nijalabha, your own profit. Why? Purno. Because you are complete. You are complete in yourself, so you never act for your profit. Then, why do the scriptures say everyone must serve you? The scriptures don't tell us to serve Krishna so that Krishna will benefit. That is for our benefit. Manam janad. When a person gives respect to Krishna, avidusho karuno pranite. This is his karuna, his mercy on ignorant persons. Because when ignorant persons, they bow down to Krishna, they give some pranami to Krishna, they make offerings to Krishna, Krishna is already blissful. He doesn't need to get more bliss from us. But when we serve him, then we are the ones who benefit. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Tachat mane pratimukasya yatha mukasrihi. It is exactly like a reflection of your face in the mirror. If you decorate your face, then the reflection is automatically beautified. If you try to beautify the reflection, this doesn't work. Yeah? You can take some kajal, some eyeliner and try to put it on the reflection and see if the face looks more beautiful or not. This never works. So in the same way, when we decorate the Lord, when we make offerings to the Lord, when we give joy to the Lord, what happens? We become more beautiful. We become more blissful. We become more prosperous in our spiritual life. It's not for Krishna's benefit. So Prahlad Maharaj is making this point. Many atheistic people, they think, why do you have to serve God? God is like a fascist dictator and telling everyone, you all have to serve me. Like a slave owner or something. No. When the Supreme Lord tells all the living entities, Sarvadamam Prachaja Mamekam Shanam Braja, surrender to me. Manmanamar Bhavamad Bhakto, become my devotee, serve me, worship me. It is not for his benefit. That is his mercy. That is for our benefit. The more we serve him, the more we progress and become successful. So then Prahlad Maharaj, he said, Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamadi kama anuya prapapan prasangat kritat masat surashina bhagavan grihita soyam katam nuvisideta vabritya sevam. O my Lord, I had fallen into the dark well of material existence, which is filled with so many poisonous snakes of different types of suffering. By associating with material persons, I was following their train of thought. And they are just trying to fulfill one lusty desire, one material ambition after another. And I was also following after them and going into a very inauspicious place. But what happened? Kritvat masat surasina. Surasina means Narad Rishi. But your devotee Narad Rishi, Kritvat masat, he made me atmasat. This is very deep. You know, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has prayed, Shakti buddhihin amiyati dhin koromore atmasat. Hey Gurudev, I am very weak, I am very foolish. Please make me atmasat. Atmasat means that I am dependent on you. Gurudev, I am not independent of you. May my heart be one with your heart. I belong to you fully. This is an Atmasat. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying that Narad, by his kripa, he said, oh, let him become a part of me. This is a fact. The disciple is one part of Gurudev. You understand? This is why on the Parampara, we see on the Parampara, the altar, our Guru Parampara is going from left to right. Left to right, not from right to left. Why do we do from left to right? Because from Krishna on the left side expands Shrimati Radhika. And from Radhika on the left side expands Lalita Vishaka, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari. And each one, all the Manjaris, they are expansions of Rupa Manjari. And so in this way, our acharyas, each one is the expansion of the bhav of the previous acharya. And then when they accept a disciple, Kritvatmasat, they make them one with them. And that disciple in his swarup becomes the embodiment, the expansion of the bhav of Gurudev in the Nitya Seva of Radha and Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj said, Kritvatmasat surashina bhagavan grihita. Oh, what can I say? I was going to hell. I was following the general populace. But your devotee Narad Muni, he came to me and he said, oh, let him be a part of me. And he made me one with himself. Therefore, so yam katamnu vishide tava britya sevam. How can I ever leave his seva? At that time when Prahlad Maharaj is standing in front of the Supreme Lord himself, and the Supreme Lord wants to bless him with any benediction, Prahlad Maharaj is just thinking, oh, I would not even be here in this situation if Gurudev had not saved me. So my only duty, my only activity, serve Gurudev forever. The teachings of Prahlad Maharaj are so profound and so very, very beautiful. So then, Prahlad Maharaj said, Prayena Deva Munayosa Vimukti Kama Monam Charanti Vijanena Parata Nishta Naitan Vihaya Kripanan Svavimukta Eko Nanyatvadasya Sharanam Pramato Nupasya. There are many, many prayers. It will take weeks and weeks and weeks. So I'm just touching just one or two jewels which pop out from Srimad Bhagavatam. It shines so brightly today. On another day, some other ones will pop out. Bhagavatam is alive. Prahlad Maharaj said, Oh my Lord, there are many rishis, many sages. They're doing their sadhana and they want to get mukti, they want to be liberated for themselves. And so they go to a lonely place and they observe silence and they do their solitary sadhana practices. But my Lord, I am not like them. I don't want to be liberated, leaving behind all these persons in this world who they are kripana. Actually, they're very narrow-minded. They're selfish and ignorant. But anyway, beyond that covering, there is Atma, the soul, which is part and parcel of you, my Lord. So I don't want to be liberated without them. I want to help them because I know other than you, they have no other shelter. So this is our movement of our Acharya Srila Prabhupada, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Dyare deka tahi kara Krishna upadesh, amar gya guru tarahare desh. Everywhere you go, everyone you meet, tell them about Krishna and the teachings of Sri Krishna. And deliver everyone in your land. This is the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes devotees think, I'm suffering so much, why am I in Maya? Why? Because not doing this. This is why. Because Mahaprabhu said, Kabu na bodhibe tom mar vishaya taranga puna api eitai pabimora sangha. He said, if you follow this instruction, then the waves of Maya, of sense gratification, they will not obstruct you. And very soon in the future, again you will have Maya association. That means, if we follow this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I will come and give you my darshan. So Prahlad Maharaj, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of our acharyas, they have this mood. When we try to share Krishna consciousness with others, then this is not, we are not being merciful to them. We are being merciful to ourselves. That is the best thing for us. And at the same time, we may become an instrument for the mercy of our parampara to work through us and touch someone else and really perform the greatest act of welfare that could possibly be done, more beneficial than opening thousands of schools and hospitals, to bring one soul out of the clutches, out of the impenetrable citadel, prison of Maya. This is the greatest welfare work anyone can do. So that is the best for others and the best for us also. So Prahlad Maharaj prayed in this way. Lord Nrisimha was very pleased. He said, Oh Prahlad, I am pleased with you. You please take a benediction from me. Prahlad Maharaj said, Oh my Lord, I am not a businessman. I am not a merchant that I was serving you to receive anything in return. So I don't want a benediction. I only want to please you. Lord Nrisimha said, well, I'll be pleased if you have a benediction. So please, ask for a benediction. Prahlad Maharaj said, please give me this benediction, that in the core of my heart there will be no material desires or attachments at all. Lord Nrisimha said, oh, you are very tricky. Already your heart is completely pure and has no desires or attachments. So again you should ask for a benediction. Prahlad Maharaj said, please give me this benediction, that although Hiranyakashipu, who was my father in this life, he tried to torture me and kill me in so many ways, that he will not suffer for his offenses. So this is a very important point, that not only Hiranyakashipu, but those soldiers who were trying to throw him off the cliff, who were giving him poison and trying to burn him, all the time they were torturing him, Prahlad Maharaj was praying for their auspiciousness. Oh my Lord, please, like Jesus Christ said, my Lord, forgive them, they don't know what they are doing. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Thakur said, when will my heart have nothing but the best wishes for my worst enemy? This is the actual illustration of Amani Namadadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. If we want to chant the pure holy name, we'll have to have such ideal character like Prahlad Maharaj, like Jesus Christ, like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Thakur. So Prahlad Maharaj prayed, oh, may Hiranyakashipu not suffer for his offenses. The Supreme Lord said, you are a pure devotee. If someone is a Kanishta Adhikari, 7 generations are delivered. If someone is a Madhyama Adhikari, 14 generations are delivered. And if someone is a Uttam Adhikari like you, 21 generations are delivered. Prahlad Maharaj, you know, Jiva Goswami Pad mentions that Prahlad Maharaj actually does not have 21 generations. Because his father is Hiranyakashipu, and his father is Kasyapa, and Diti, and then his father is Swayambhuva Manu, and his father is Brahma, like this, so he doesn't even have 21 generations. So the benediction of Lord Nrisimha went and liberated all his ancestors from the previous creation of the universe. It wasn't even from this creation of the universe. So Lord Nrisimha said, don't worry about your father, he'll be fine, plus all your ancestors in this universe creation and the previous creation as well. So you should again ask for another benediction. So then Prahlad Maharaj said, then give me this benediction that please take all the karmas, good and bad, of all the living entities in the whole universe, let them be liberated and let me suffer in their place. Substitution theory. I'll be the substitute, let me take all the karmas and let them be liberated. Lord Nrisimha said, oh, you have defeated me, Prahlad. I cannot do that. So I am defeated by you. But I'll give this benediction. If anyone with faith will hear our conversation together, then very soon they will all attain Krishna Prem. So this Kathar is very powerful and very auspicious. Now, one more thing. We want to end where we began. We began by saying that God is not the God of the speculation of the conditioned souls in this world, who comes and is involved in the dualities of life. He's Advaya Gyan Tattva, fully transcendental. So just then, when Lord Nrisimha gave the benedictions to Prahlad, Lord Brahma came also and began to offer prayers. He's our Adi Guru. And he said something wonderful, which gives us the Advai, the non-dual perspective on the whole Leela. He said, oh my Lord, who can understand your unlimited glories? It is beyond us. So we simply bow down to you and pray for your mercy. It was you who made the 4 Kumaras become angry and give a curse to Jai and Vijay. It was you who inspired me to give the benedictions that he cannot be killed in the day and the night or land in the air and everything to Hiranyakashipu. It is you who made your pure devotee appear in the womb of the wife of Hiranyakashipu. It was you who created such a situation that Hiranyakashipu would attack your pure devotee. And then it was you who then appeared and saved him. It was all, everything was you. This is the Advai Gyan Tattva, the non-dual vision of the Leela. So just one last thing I want to say. When Prahlad Maharaj was praying to Lord Nrisimha, he said, Channa kalo samabhavas triyogota sattvam My Lord, you incarnate as the boar, you incarnate as tortoise, you incarnate among humans and demigods, but your name is Triyuga, because though you appear in 4 ages, in the Kali Yuga, Channakkalo, you appear in a covered form as Sachinandan Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki Jai! So millions of years ago in the Satyug, Prahlad Maharaj also glorified our Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Gaur Premanande Hare Krishna.